First guest tonight is an Oscar-winning actor, director, distiller of spirits, and sexiest Batman alive. He goes behind the camera once again with the new historical drama, The Boys in the Boat. It opens in theaters Christmas Day. Please welcome George Clooney. First of all, I want to tell the audience something, because when we were on strike, we did a podcast. It was me, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon, and John Oliver. We did a podcast together, and we called George Clooney and said, would you sponsor this podcast to support our staff? And guess who said yes? I will absolutely do that with Casamigos, George and Randy Gerber. So thank you for that.
I didn't know that. No one told me, or I would have probably put a look on that.
And, hey, have you taken your holiday photo yet, or you just used the one
No. I just used that
one. With the Langleys?
Yeah, I used that one. That's the one.
I don't think anyone would be surprised if that came from you.
I wouldn't be surprised if you send it out to all my friends. That's who you are.
Did you know I saw your wife on Saturday night?
I do. I know that.
And she told me that your kids now speak 2 languages that you don't speak.
Yes. I'm not a very smart person. And I've armed my children. They speak French and they speak Italian. And my wife speaks French and Italian.
You are at a tactical disadvantage right now.
Yeah, what's got 2 thumbs and doesn't speak French or Italian? Right here. Yeah, it's bad. It's okay, though. You know, I'm enjoying the ignorance of it all.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll be like sitting there and the kids will look at me and be like, hey, Papa is Franzo, eh? And I'm like, what? I kind of enjoy it.
Did you think maybe they think you're dumb because you don't understand? Like,
yeah. Oh, like I'll try to fake something and in the wrong language, you know, and they'll just look at me like you're an idiot, and I'm like, you're 6.
I had this with my daughter the other night. I said to her that I didn't graduate college. She's like, you didn't? She goes, are you dumb?
Well, my son's in love with Batman, right? He's in love with it's all he talks about is Batman. And I'm like, you know, I was Batman. And he's like, yeah, not anymore. And I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
He has no idea how right he is.
That's tough, yeah. That's tough.
Yeah. How do you tell your 6-year-old son that Batman had nipples? How do you do that?
How do you not? I guess you do it in French. It's really how you do it, yeah.
You're right.
Les nipples.
Les nipples. Bonjour.
Is Santa Claus still an entity at your home?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
What's the best?
What are you talking about?
I don't know, because my son's starting to ask questions, and he's...
Oh, I can't take that.
Yeah, no.
I can't take any of the questions. Because, you know, it all falls, like, in a day. Because what happens is they're like, so this whole tooth fairy thing. And you go, yeah, you know, well, I kind of slittle. And they're like, ah. And then, like, as the day goes on, it's like, so the Easter Bunny? And you're like... and then you just look for anything. It's like, you're not talking about Santa Claus.
No.
No, my
That's
God.
a totally different thing.
Comes down the chimney.
Yeah, I'll give you the Tooth Fairy. I will begrudgingly give you the Easter Bunny, but no, not Santa Claus. Yeah.
No.
What's the best item, the best gift you ever got when you were a kid for Christmas?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess eventually, I'd been asking for a long time for a bicycle. And my parents got me, you know, there's sort of that, there was like Schwinn, it was the groovy. And then there was Huffy.
That's what I had.
And then there was the next one, which was like, it was the Kmart one. I can't remember, it was like Murray or something.
Murray.
No, Murray was, whatever it was, but it came in a box that you had to put together.
Yeah.
And I never actually got it completely put together.
Oh, really? You were in charge of assembling it yourself?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was 4. No, I
had a Huffy, and at that time, the Huffy was the worst one. And I remember my kids got to that age, and Huffy's like a cool bike now. And I was like, I'm not getting them a Huffy.
Yeah.
They can't go through the abuse that I went through.
But I would dress it up, because this is the 70s, you know, so he had all the, like the sissy bar and the streamers on it.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Would you have the baseball cards in the spokes?
In the spokes to make a little noise?
Yeah, the little spoke.
And I had a 3-shifter right in the middle.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Wow.
That's what took me so long to put the damn thing together.
Our mutual friend Norman Lear passed away 6 days ago.
Yeah.
You were really, really close with Norman, right? How long did you know? When did you?
Well,
did you meet him on Facts of Life?
I met him on Facts of Life. So I met him 40 years ago. I met him before that on a series. I did a series before ER called ER, which is kind of stupid. You know?
Yeah. With Elliot Gould, right?
Yeah, with Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
And he was the executive producer on it. And I met him then. And, you know, if you think about it, he was 60 then. He was my age then. And he was 101 when he passed away. And he was the youngest man in every room you walked into, don't you think?
Yeah, because he was so, it also just his wit and his sharpness seemed to come out of nowhere because you see this man who's a very old man, you just don't expect
he would do
what
things
you
like,
got.
he would do weird stuff. Like he would say, I get a call, 2 years ago, I got a call from him. I was in Italy, and he goes, "Where are you?" And I go, "I'm in Italy." And he goes, "How are the kids?" And I go, "They're doing great." He goes, "I want to see them." I was like, "Okay, well, we're here for a while." He goes, "Okay." And then he flies to Italy. I mean, I don't drive to Hollywood, you know? And he got in the plane and flew to Italy. I mean,
wow.
He was just one of those, you know, I have to say, you know, it's very, you and I kind of gave something of the same response when we heard, which is that it's very unusual to talk about 101 years old being too soon.
Yeah.
But it was too soon.
Yeah, it was. I met him when he was 95, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, imagine meeting someone who
Yeah.
becomes your friend when he is 95 years old.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like he stuck around for me.
Well, that's not a bad feeling.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a totally self-centered feeling.
I was going to say, you know, I probably not. Really.
Did your parents get to meet
Oh,
Norman?
sure. They knew Norman
Yeah.
in Italy. They spent some time together.
Oh, in Italy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We have a picture, actually, I wanted to show of your dad with his sister, your Aunt Rosemary, and your Aunt Gail as
Aunt Gail.
well.
Yeah.
But, boy, you weren't adopted for sure. I mean...
My dad turns 90 in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, are you going to do something?
Yeah, you applaud turning 90, right?
Yeah.
Turning 90 means you've avoided dying. That's my fun. You know, it's funny, when I did a movie, The Monuments Men, I directed years and years ago, and I had my dad play me as an old man in it. And the last shot in the movie, you know, he walks off into walks off into the light, and then the credits roll up. And so when I screened the movie for the first time, when the first credit that rolled up, I said, "In loving memory of Nick Clooney," which was my father's name. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "You never know."
George Clooney, his movies, The Boys in the Boat. We'll be right back.
Saw your picture in the paper. Harry Jr. clipped it out.
When'd you get back from California?
A couple of years. You know, things weren't much better down there.
So you've been here all that time?
Down the road a bit.
You ever gonna tell me?
You're doing all right.
I was 14 when you left.
I went to war when I was that age. So what do you want to do, Joe? Huh?
That is The Boys in the Boat, directed by George Clooney. It opens on Christmas Day. This is the perfect kind of movie to see at Christmas time. And I've learned a lot from watching this movie. First of all, you know, I knew a little bit about the 1936 Olympics. I had no idea about this University of Washington rowing team. I mean, you hear about Jesse Owens, who's represented in the movie as well, but I found myself like watching rowing and being gripped to, and really like rooting for this team. It's a crazy story.
It's a crazy story because it was during the Depression, and all these young men. There's a great book. It's a lot of you have actually already read the book. It's a huge hit, and it's a wonderful piece of literature. But it's basically these broke young men in trying to attend the University of Washington, trying to eat. They didn't have any money. This was during the Depression. The kid you see in this scene is living in his car, and they learned to row just to stay in college and to get food, and they end up winning the Olympics. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I was amazed at, and I assume everything is essentially true, like thousands and thousands of people would come to see these races.
100,000 people would go show. It was the most watched sporting event in the United States in the mid-30s, which is crazy because, you know, didn't seem like it.
Did you shoot up in Seattle?
No, we went up to Seattle. Seattle doesn't look like Seattle in 1936.
Right.
It's changed a little.
Yeah.
So we shot a lot of it in England.
Oh, really?
Same weather.
Yeah, it is the same weather.
It really
I think
is.
they're on the same like parallel or something
right.
like that. Yeah.
It's very good. You're very good with those.
Although you did have good weather through the whole movie. I did note that. I lived in Seattle. It wasn't quite as nice as that movie.
No,
Yeah.
not as nice.
And then this story of this team that you have Hitler is in the movie.
Hitler's in the movie. We got him out. We dug him up.
I do want to ask you about that because what is the process of finding your Hitler?
It's tricky. Because, you know, guys put on like little crappy mustaches and tape themselves.
They do that for the audition.
Yeah. And you're like, dude. I mean, the good news is you got the part. The bad news is you're Hitler. I mean, what is it? You know.
Knowing you, I would never, ever, under
Audition.
any circumstances, send you a video of myself with a little Hitler mustache
No.
pasted on.
In fact, I wish you had, 'cause I'd have another house.
And then what happens when you get the guy, you're like, we found our Hitler.
We got our Hitler. Yeah. Well, it's depressing, obviously. But,
Yeah.
You know, well, it's kind of a relief, actually, because, you know, I mean, when you're shooting a period piece and you're doing something, you know, this is 1936. Everybody knew Hitler was kind of a bad guy. I had no idea how much worse it was going to get.
That was interesting to me, is that the Americans were cheered when they came into Berlin by the Germans, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is right before
All hell
things
broke loose.
changed.
But it was a funny thing. We were shooting. You know, we're in London, and we'd have to shoot in all of these places and hang swastikas up, and you know, it's horrible. And you'd always apologize. I'm so sorry. And we were shooting at this sort of the Greenwich Naval Academy Museum, and you know, it's very British. And this old gentleman comes up. He's wearing like the medals. He's like, right, exactly. What is it that you're going to be shooting here? We were scouting the locations, and I said, well, we're going to hang some swastikas up on the thing. And he's like, right. And he looked at me. He goes, but no French flags, right? I go, no. I mean, that runs deep.
Wow. Well, and I also was noting as I was watching the movie that it seems like you gravitate towards movies as far as directing goes that have like a bunch of young guys like together.
Yes.
Is that because it's fun for you to be with a bunch of young guys, or?
Well, you know, I
don't mean it like that. George, is there anything you want to tell us?
It's the holiday season. Yeah, well, no, I don't enjoy it because I don't enjoy younger actors that take roles from us.
I see.
You know, as we're aging, there's not much I can do about it.
Even when you yourself have given them those roles.
It's a mistake on my part. All the way around.
Well, the movie came out great. It's a great movie to go see on Christmas Day, that's for sure. It's called The Boys in the Boat. It opens in theaters then. George Clooney, everybody. Thank you, George. We'll be back with Kimmel